point did you think that the Packers were going to win that game against the Eagles last Sunday? Oh, come on.
Not even for a second did I believe that.
That seems to be the general consensus.
It's
I don't know. I had my hopes high.
Everyone says there's no way the Packers go 0-6 versus the best teams in the NFC. And I go, yeah, they fucking can. They lost to the Bears the week before. They could have put themselves in a better position and had to play the fucking Buccaneers. All they had to do was beat the Bears and then hope that the freaking Commanders would lose. Now, obviously, it wasn't fully our decision or whatever. But it's like if you had won the week before against the Lions, then you would have been. So, AKA, you're not winning the big games.
Sucks too now because I have to root for the Eagles because I don't want to give anything to Bears fans.
No, I don't. I don't gotta root. You don't gotta root for the Eagles. Philadelphia sucks. Not the team. Who am I supposed to root for then? Not the team, just Philadelphia in general.
I mean, yeah. But who am I supposed to root for then?
Root for the Chiefs just because it pisses everyone off.
Won't that piss Billy off?
Nah, I convinced him that the Chiefs are like their coach Andy Reid is really funny. He's also from Wisconsin. He's like he always jokes about how he's a fat guy or whatever, and he loves it.
Oh, okay.
I have to show you guys some of the freaking State Farm commercials. That's the real reason I want the Chiefs to win, is so they can keep doing State Farm commercials because they are top tier commercials.
Just so they can do State Farm commercials.
Absolutely, 100%. They're great. Look, you just need to have Patrick Mahomes in the locker room or whatever of like a State Farm thing or whatever, and he's like, "Guys, I got 2 words for you: bundle and save." And he goes, "But that's 3 words. Not if you bundle them." And everyone just loses their damn mind.
What the?
I hold on. Let me find.
No, I kind of don't want to watch a State Farm ad.
No. It's great. Trust me, you'll love it. I'll show it to you later. I don't know.
Oh boy, I can't wait to watch ads.
Dude,
cool.
Some of the best State Farm ads have come. They're way better than any of the fucking Super Bowl ads because the Super Bowl ads fucking suck now.
I don't care. I don't like watching ads.
I understand that, but it's just like they're great. They're funny.
If you say so.
I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a sports fan, but I don't know. If I had to watch ads, I'll watch State Farm ads, just as long as they have Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes in it. Also, I just like to see football fans angry. That's the real reason I want to see the Chiefs win.
Fair enough.
Oh man!
Dude.
All I know is last night I watched Sam Darnold just drop a big dump in his pants, and boy, did he fucking suck. The Vikings looked really bad. Darnold was not on point, and I go, so in these last 2 games versus the Lions, and now against the freaking Rams. What's that? For some reason I was thinking the Chargers, but the Chargers got demolished by the Texans. I was like, just watching that, I'm like, everyone's expecting, Sam Darnold's probably going to get a big payout, even though he sucked years prior to this, and he had like a halfway decent year.
No.
And I'm like,
come on.
You dropped the biggest dump in your pants on your 2 biggest games you've played in your entire career. Sorry, but you're not getting it.
No.
No, he'll sign with the Raiders because it'll be funny for that, and then the Vikings will start Daniel Jones, who is the quarterback for the Giants before they dropped him, and then Daniel Jones will turn out to be halfway decent, and then this is the cycle that the Vikings will just repeat, where they think they're good enough, they win a bunch of games, they almost win the division or whatever, but like 14 wins apparently isn't good enough to win the division, and then they go, we'll go to the first round. Hey guys, we're feeling really good about facing the Rams. What do you mean we only scored 3 points the entire game? Oh.
I mean, we scored absolutely nothing
dog
in the
shit.
first half.
Yeah, absolute dog shit. It's like you don't. The offense played like crap. Everyone played like crap. But I just the confidence that I feel like the confidence that Vikings fans went in was a lot higher than Packers fans.
Oh yeah, I think
that's where I'm going.
I think after that Bears game, Packers fans were just like, okay, yeah.
I mean, it was a great season. It was great. We realized that maybe Christian Watson isn't as good, not because of his skill, but because he can't stay on the fucking field. Guy's made of glass. All of our wide receivers were hurt, but doesn't really make an excuse or anything like that.
We need more wide receivers. Yes. That's not up for debate. We 100% need more wide receivers.
Yeah. Well, how often are Jalen Reed, Christian Watson, and Romeo Doubs going to be hurt? And I go, apparently very often.
More often than we'd like them to be, anyway.
Apparently, it can just all happen in one game. Well, technically two, because Watson was out before the game. But but it's like, oh, you got two good receivers or whatever, and then you go, and they, yeah. Be nice to have somebody else to throw to, or maybe use what's the tight end's name, the Kraft or whatever. Should utilize him more. Just saying. But that would require the offense to do something of actual relevance on that game. Well, the Eagles' defense is so good. You still should be able to score more than 0 points and a half, man.
Yeah, dude. No matter how good the team is, if you're doing that bad, it's...
Well, I sit here and I ask myself, how the fuck did we win 11 games? Watching that game, I would have said we were no better than the Bears. Arguably, you could say we were no better than the Bears, considering we beat the Bears earlier in the season because we blocked a kick, basically, and then we lost on a last minute kick. So did we? Did we really beat them? I don't know.
I mean, I'd like to believe that we did. Because I don't like Bears fans.
I don't either, but
Yeah.
It's like well, we did beat him. Yeah, we beat him because we got lucky. Sorry, it's just what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm still not sold. It's like, I think that, what was it, after the game, they were talking about how it's like, oh, Jordan Love has really good talent. He just needs to actually show that he has the talent to do it. And I would 100% agree with that. He's shown me a lot of upsides that he's actually good. It's just when the time comes to actually be good, he doesn't show up. So that's that.
I don't know. I have more faith in Jordan Love for next season than I would if Rodgers was still playing.
That
the issue I've always had with Rodgers is that he was,
a narcissist.
Pretty stagnant. He doesn't improve from season to season. He, because like we discussed before, he doesn't practice.
Well, my main problem with Rodgers is that he's a narcissist.
Yeah. Man, the Jets spent so much money on him, and I just thought, man, we got Rodgers.
They're thinking they're going to be Super Bowl contenders. That was my favorite part. With we got our quarterback. Now we're going to be Super Bowl contenders. And I'll be honest with you, they had a halfway decent team. They were just missing a quarterback. But then I was like, wait a second, we're the Jets. It's like when the Cleveland Browns think they have something going for them, and then they remember they're the Cleveland Browns. As Deshaun Watson's now going to be out. Is going to miss all of next year with an ACL tear for the second time in his career.
Jeez.
And you also have to remember this is the guy that domestically abused his wife. So fuck him. If he never steps foot on another football field, it'll be too early.
Yeah.
So anyway. It's like that. The Raiders think they're some good shit. Who else is another one? You know what's funny to me as well is like is that the Patriots all of a sudden went down the tube. Everything was riding high for them. They won all the Super Bowls with Brady, and then everything after that just downhill. No, nothing but downhill.
I mean, do they still have Tom Brady?
No, dude. He does commentary now. He'll do like is it Fox or I think it's usually like Fox broadcasting now. And I remember that was a big thing because Greg Olson was the guy who used to do like the Sunday like afternoon games on Fox or whatever.
Yeah.
And he got pushed out because of Brady, and he was not happy about it. And I wouldn't blame him. If you had been doing Sunday night games your entire career and doing a halfway decent job at it, basically, and it's like you get replaced by a guy that, who basically has no training or like no professionalism when it comes to no priors with like broadcast or whatever, and you all of a sudden replaced by that, I'd be pissed off too. It's like, well, he's Tom Brady. It doesn't mean he knows how to commentate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's whatever. That's a whole nother thing. But if one sport just loves continuing to just like, what is it, nepotism, I guess.
It is football above all else.
Yeah. No. It's one of my main reasons why I just can't stand football sometimes. It was like the final week 17 or whatever. It's like Saquon Barkley had the chance to break the all-time the single season record for most rushing yards in a game. I think he needed like 120 something yards to break the record. And rather than letting him try, the Eagles said, "Nope, you're done for the year." Because the game doesn't matter. It won't change where we sit or anything like that. So we're just gonna sit you or whatever. And he goes, "But wouldn't it be cool if I broke the single season rushing record?" I mean, yeah, but what if you get hurt? Bro, I played 16 games. I hurled a guy jumping backwards. And you're worried about me getting hurt now. Right.
Is that why they lost that one game against the Broncos?
Yes. They didn't play.
Oh my God.
They didn't play anyone. Or no, that was the Chiefs didn't play anybody because I don't remember who they faced, who the Eagles faced at the end there. But
that's right. It was the Chiefs against the Broncos.
Yeah, the Chiefs literally sat everybody in that game against the Broncos. You know what? I was okay with that because in the end, Kansas City's just like, oh, if we let Denver win, then the Bengals don't get in. Oh no! Oh no! That's too bad. That's so sad. I guarantee you that's what they thought. They're like, we'll just put it on the bench guys or whatever. They give them some experience or whatever. Patrick, even though you have not played your best year of all time, just sit this one out, buddy.
Jesus.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny. It was just like usually that's a big matchup because like when you look at it, Burrow versus Mahomes or whatever, and it's like it's the same thing with the Chiefs versus the Bills during the regular season. The Bills always win the regular season games, but the Chiefs always win the postseason games. It's like when you look at it, it's like Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. It's like it's pretty much 50-50, but not a single win for the Bills have been in the playoffs. They've won pretty much every regular season matchup, but lost every playoff matchup.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty nutty.
That's I don't even know what to fucking say about that. That's crazy to me.
And they just win the big games. That's pretty much all it is.
They've lost every playoff game?
No, they've lost every playoff game against them, basically. So if it's the Chiefs versus the Bills during the regular season game, the Bills basically always win. But if it's the Chiefs versus the Bills in the playoffs, the Chiefs always win.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I mean, yeah, you can win this regular season game. We'll make up for it because we're the Chiefs. I can be Patrick Mahomes and play probably my worst year of my career so far, and we'll still only lose 2 games. Yeah, yeah, because they lost their second game against the Broncos, so they won 15-2, and then their one other loss was to the Bills earlier this season. I think they got to face. I think they faced Denver. Not Denver. Who they face? I don't remember who they facing. Let's look it up, because NBA always reseeds now when it comes to the playoffs. So the highest seed always faces the lowest seed. But I cannot for the life of me remember. So do we think that realistically Nintendo's announcing the Switch 2 on Thursday? If you're listening to this, you already know. But for us, we're recording this on Tuesday night, so we don't know yet.
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Like this.
So here's my thing. I get what you were saying about how Nintendo likes to, announce like a big announcement like that the day before. I feel like they would try to build up a little bit more hype if it was a whole new system.
No,
and,
people got too mean.
What?
People got too mean. They were said too many nasty things because they all get in their head and they think that all these things are going to happen, then they never do, and that's why they're just like, oh no, we're just not going to let you guys know until 24 hours beforehand, so you can't just go wild with theories about what's going to see, and then when you don't see that, it doesn't happen. So when people go, why is there not Halo on the Switch 2? Because it's a Microsoft thing.
I mean, there have been rumors that Microsoft wants to put Halo on the Switch 2 and on the PS5 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't believe those rumors either.
Nope.
So all of these are coming from the same guy called Nate the Hate. I don't know who that is.
I don't know either. Apparently he's a Nintendo leaker that has gotten a lot of things right, and that's why people are taking this very credible.
Okay.
That's really all I know about it. Is that he's called stuff in the past exactly how it is or whatever and leaked it and it's been right. So
fair enough.
That's pretty much that's where this whole crux of this comes from.
I mean, if we do get a Switch 2 reveal on Thursday, cool. I'm just not expecting it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will be.
But from what we've heard of the Switch 2, it's going to launch in either April or May, and some of its launch titles, it's actually not going to release with a Zelda game, funnily enough. And it is one of its release titles is going to be the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Red Dead Redemption 2.
How the fuck is that going to play on there?
Again,
I mean, maybe the Switch 2 is just that good, but
Red Dead Redemption 2. There's going to be Mario Kart 9. It's not another iteration of Mario Kart 8 like we were predicting last week. And another 3D Mario game. It weirdly enough is not going to launch with the Zelda title. Which, I don't know. Out of everything, that seems like the one thing that is just unbelievable to me. Because hasn't every major Nintendo console launched with the Legend of Zelda game?
Has it? I know recently that's probably been true.
I know at least with the Wii, that one launched with Twilight Princess.
Yeah, wasn't that the Twilight Princess? That was a remake though, wasn't it?
No.
Update, I guess.
So it kind of like Breath of the Wild. It launched the exact same day on the Wii that it did on the GameCube.
That's why I think that.
Mm-hmm. Then. Did the Wii U launch with a Legend of Zelda game? I think it may have launched with one of the remakes of sort, but
was that Skyward
That's
Sword?
Right. It wasn't Skyward Sword. That was midway through the Wii's life cycle. It launched with the Wind Waker remake. What the Wii U launched with.
Hey, right.
And then of course with the Switch we had, Breath of the Wild. So does not have any Zelda games lined up? Even if it was the first year, just feels Kind of bizarre.
All right, Nintendo, give us that Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks remake for the Switch
God.
2.
Fuck you, son of a bitch. God. We've waited this long. Can they just port over like Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD? It would take so little effort on their part.
I know.
Do you think the next Legend of Zelda game is going to be a Breath of the Wild like, or are they going to go back to traditional Zelda stuff?
I don't know. Like I feel like well, Breath of the Wild obviously was like, like a reimagining of the gameplay or whatever, and everyone loved it. I feel like Tears of a Kingdom. I feel like a lot of people kind of fell off that game after a little while. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like for some people you were all into like, oh, just making these crazy builds or whatever in the game, or you were just like, I just kind of want to like dungeon crawl, stuff like that, rather than building shit. So it was like, I feel like a lot of more people kind of jumped off. Like I know like multiple people that never ever finished like Tears of a Kingdom, and it's like, damn.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So here's another weird question. So what if they take like some of the gameplay elements from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like all the exploration, all that, but instead of just giving you everything right at the beginning, they do a kind of Wind Waker method, right? Where basically, you can do all these things, but certain areas of the map are locked off until you've completed certain objectives. It's like, oh, until you've beaten the water temple, you can't go to this whole new area. Or you can't... Or unless you unlocked a certain spell or something, you can't go to certain places.
Well, wasn't that just like the whole... I mean, that's the whole idea of just like sequencing temples, right? Like it was like, oh, you need what's in this temple to go to this other temple or whatever. It's like you can go in it, but you can't progress through it, basically, or something like that.
Yeah. So, I don't know, something like that, but it incorporated a bit more Breath of the Wildy elements, if I'm making any sense whatsoever.
Personally, for me, I think a lot of people would be like, kind of like, maybe let's step back from this kind of open world stuff or whatever and go for more of a linear path, where it's like, and focus a little bit more on the story elements of like a Zelda game. But I could be wrong. Maybe that's just old school me thinking that.
I don't know. It's like you said, if a lot of people didn't finish Tears of the Kingdom, it may show that kind of shift in, audience perspective of just wanting.
Well, I don't know if a lot of people did, but I just know multiple people. Like my brother never finished it. I'm pretty sure Billy never finished it. Like he said he played it for a while there and just never went back to finish it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he loves those guys. He loved Breath of the Wild. So I was like surprised when he said, "Yeah, I just kind of stopped playing Tears of the Kingdom one day. I just didn't really enjoy it as much as I did Breath of the Wild." I'm like, no, it's fair.
Fair enough, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's hard to always like, catch that bottle of like that
lightning in a bottle.
Bottle. Yeah, it's just like, it's like they got it with like Breath of the Wild. It was this new, exciting thing with just like a very open world thing or whatever, where you just like play as you wanted to, and then it was like, all right, now let's do that again and add like 3 tiers of like world, where there's the underworld, the like the Hyrule, and then there's the upper like Sky Islands. And I go, do we need this? Probably not. I don't know. You ever hit the point where you look at a world map and you just go, this is so much.
Too fucking much. Yeah.
And I'm just like, I am overwhelmed by just the amount of shit that is on this thing. Because that's me in a lot of open world games.
Most times when I play an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
Dude, apparently like the map for Valhalla was way larger than Odyssey, which is crazy because I looked at Odyssey's map and I looked at the area that I was exploring and I was like, man, this is a lot. It's going to take a while to get through all this. And it was just like a small corner. I was like, The thing that I was getting overwhelmed by was apparently like a 1/16 of the entirety of the map, like not even. And it's like, holy shit. How many fucking hours am I going to have to put into this game to get anywhere with it?
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm good, It's like at some point it's just like I just want to experience like the story that you want to tell basically. It's like I don't really care for doing everything in an open world. Some people do, some people don't. I'm just one of those guys that just like sure, it's cool to kind of like, maneuver around this world or whatever, see like more of the world, but in the end I'm just going like I'm just kind of here for the story.
There are some games that'll definitely be like that, but I'm definitely one of those really like finicky bitches where unless I get every little icon on the map screen, something just in my heart of hearts I can't do that. It's like, well, it's there and I need to go deal with that.
Yeah.
It's like playing most open world games for me is just so hard because
you have that completionist like mentality basically.
Yeah, I was like, I have to do everything. Back in Yakuza 0, there was it was a property management minigame where I was pouring just hours and hours and hours into that, and eventually I was like, this is ridiculous. I need to do so much more because I got down to the last 2 districts, and I thought to myself, this is going to take a good, 6-7 hours of just grinding this one mini game, going to all these different properties and trying to min-max them, and dealing with like petty street gangs and all this other bullshit. And I was just, do not want to deal with that. I gotta get going, man. I gotta finish the rest of the story. So I just ignored all of that, and it was just so hard to walk away from that.
Yeah. I feel that. Mm-hmm. I was like, I kind of did that. I was like, I started playing like Rebirth not that long ago or whatever, and I was just like, I go to the first like, I go to like the first area or whatever, and I'm just like, I just want to go do all this shit or whatever because I also want Titan, because the thing is like, so you start the game off, you meet the guy who sells you all the materia and makes all the special materia in the game, Chadley. Mm-hmm. And he goes out of the first one. He's like, "Oh, I know how to recreate the Titan summoning materia, but you're going to need to be able to defeat him in this like virtual simulator thing before I can create it," type thing. And so you can face him on the hardest difficulty, or you can do the map to make him less powerful, so it's easier to defeat him. And I'm like, well, son of a bitch. So I went and I did the whole map, and I went, wow, I'm already like 15 hours in, and I've done the first area of the game. I'm good.
Is this why it's taking so long for you to beat Rebirth?
No, I mean, I don't know, partially, but it's like at the same time I'm sitting here going, it really didn't take that long. I'm probably over exaggerating. 15 hours. It probably was like at most 10. But I'm just like, I just haven't felt the desire to play it. I don't know. Just what it is. Like, I want to see the story. Yeah. And I think, and that's the thing about it as well, is I've heavily considered, and this is like, to me, I've always considered this like a sin of games and stuff like that, is just watching the cutscenes of the game rather than playing it, because I just want to experience the story rather than play the game itself.
Yeah. And, there are some games, like, especially there are some Ubisoft games now where you can just say, oh, yeah, put this game in story mode. It'll rush you through the missions. The difficulty is basically non-existent, and you can just experience the story. I don't think I could ever do that. I don't think I could.
I don't know. Like, I've, like, heavily... I did that for Witcher 3. Where I was like, I just did not care to play Witcher 3, but I wanted to see what the story was, and I thought it was really good, and stuff like that. But I was just like, I just didn't care for the gameplay, for the elements or whatever. I just did not care to run across half the world or whatever to do all this stuff or whatever. And I was just like, I just want to kind of experience the story.
No, that's completely fair. I can definitely see myself like for the for the God of War games. I'll be completely honest. I do not vibe with the open world elements
Me neither.
or the gameplay of those games at all. Really, I think they have a great story though. So it's like I'd be willing to just sit down and rewatch the cutscenes again because I did enjoy the story they had to tell.
Yeah,
So many games though.
I tried playing the first God of War game, and it was like, oh, let's go up the mountain, boy, and stuff like that. And I'm just like, bro, I'm already 10 hours in, and we're just starting to climb up the mountain. What the fuck? I'm good, you know.
For as good as those games are, I think the open world bits are super unnecessary. They could have cut all that out and lost nothing. Most of that is just padding. Like, all the side missions are completely useless. They add nothing. I absolutely hated all of them. And
I don't know. It's just like, I think it's just pacing of a game, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
like it's just like if you go from heavy story bits to just a lot of just like open world as things to like, yeah, you go like it's just a lot of BS that like you just like is there to keep you busy type thing to help you find this big important weapon or collect materials for like crafting something.
It goes from like this big dramatic scene where it's like, oh man, stakes have never been higher. Hey father, let's explore this cave and hit these pots in the correct order to open this chest. It's like, sure, why the hell not?
Yeah,
it's like because I know a boss fight is coming.
It's like Final Fantasy Rebirth. They added like a new cards game called Queen's Blood or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm so glad that we're hiding from Shinra in the middle of calm basically, and just going, hey, let's play this card game against this stupid kid. And I'm just like, I'm good. I don't know. I think that's my number one thing about open world games, though. It's just like you go from these like really important scenes to like really important moments to just nothing, just a lot of nothing for like 10 hours or something like that, and I'm just like, no. It's like, stick with that.
That's why, typical Alex, he's about to suck off Remedy. Like I always do. One of my favorite open world games of all time is Control, because they really don't do that. All of these side missions funnel into and support the main story. It's like, okay, what are we doing in, the biggest house? We need to clear out all these different entities and stuff. We're the new director. It's our job to go do that. And if you want to save that stuff for after the campaign, cool, you can do that. Awesome. And a lot of the side missions and just side stuff was stuff that I just kind of stumbled upon while exploring the facility. Like at one point I fell into the plant area where this one lady was like, "Oh yeah, we're trying to defeat this one fungus that's keeping you from certain parts of the building." Oh, awesome! I discovered this completely on accident, and now I get to do all sorts of new cool shit. Is it part of the main story? Maybe not. Would I be able to was I able to tell like this is not something that is essential? Not really. It felt very organic in that way.
Yeah. So what I've said about like Final Fantasy 16, it's like I wasn't sure I was ever going to do like all the side quests or whatever, but like they just felt like they were like furthering like the like kind of like the plot or whatever, or they were fleshing out a character that may have seemed irrelevant or whatever, but like actually turned out to be kind of big or whatever, and stuff like that. And I was like, and that's why I enjoyed that. And I think I said this when I was kind of talking about the game when I first played it, but it was like Final Fantasy 16 is one of those games where it feels like the world isn't centered around the main character, that there are things happening in the world basically that don't necessarily that Clive does not need to be there for it to happen. And that's kind of how a lot of the side missions are. Like, I remember there was this one side mission where it was like this. It was like one of the first guys that had helped you, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I have a past with this one like noble dude or whatever, and he's threatening, everything I created type thing. So I'm just gonna go kill him or whatever." And it's like, if you want to help me, or whatever, it's fine. Or just don't try and stop me or whatever. And I'm just like, I mean, I'm not gonna stop you, but I'm gonna make sure you don't get killed either. And it's just like, yeah, that was like a very, very interesting side quest that I really liked.
Those are the best kind of side quests, and I always appreciate when games have those side missions where it feels like they're adding on to the main story rather than distracting from it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like even when I look at it, it's like you could look at like the social links in like Persona games as kind of like side quests or whatever, even though they're main part of the game, but but it's just like that's what I enjoy about like the stuff like the social links. It's like, one, you're learning more about the character, but two, it also furthers you and furthers the story along. It also gets you more to care about the character, even if they're all like freaking side character that's only there just to be an extra social link. Like, they're not like the main party or anything like that, but it's like, hey, it's like, oh, this is kind of cool character or whatever. Or, you end up like fucking Oya in Persona 5 and you go, you're just a drunk reporter pretty much. Maybe they'll do that for the next Zelda game, is they'll add like a social links with like a bunch of different people. How fucking crazy that'd be.
Boy, that would be weird. That would be fucking bizarre.
That'd be wild.
Dude, can you imagine how peak a Zelda game would be if it had the Nemesis system?
Oh, it'd be so good. Too bad that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Nintendo's never going to pay for the rights for a freaking Nemesis
Absolutely
system.
fucking not.
Ugh.
Bullshit.
Hey, WB, what can we do to make sure that you don't re-up that patent? That's the thing you do, right? How do patents work? I don't even know. I thought you have to like renew them every like a couple of years or something like that.
I'll tell you what, if you guys can keep that patent, just make another fucking Lord of the Rings game with it, huh? How about that? You get to make a ton of money and keep from pissing people off. It's the best of combos. Is Google not working for you?
Well, dude, like, you know how it's just like you have Google's stupid AI where they bring up something that like, oh, this answers your question. Does not answer your question whatsoever. Scroll past that, and then you got like fucking like 5 different like sponsored things that all are not what you're looking for. 15 to 20 years, motherfucker.
I mean, eventually they're gonna have to, do something with it in order to renew it, right?
Not necessarily.
Well, can they just do something anyway?
Yeah, just don't renew it. Or can you relinquish a patent? I don't know.
I mean, they wouldn't do that.
I know they wouldn't do it, but it'd be really funny if they did. It'd be great.
It'd be real cool if they did.
It'd be really great.
Game industry doesn't like doing cool stuff.
That's true. You're right. Especially not WB. WB is a bunch of sticks in the mud. Anyway.
Something else I kind of wanted to consult with you on.
What's that?
So, AC Shadows was pushed back again to March.
Was it? When was it supposed to release?
February. Early February.
Okay.
So they pushed back another month.
They did the classic CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk, where it's like, oh, we pushed it back a month. How's a month really going to help you?
I mean, I guess they just want to put a bit more extra polish on it, I guess. They really want to make sure this game doesn't come out glitchy at all, I'm guessing.
Let's hope.
Assassin's Creed is, I think both you and I know, they've had a history of not the most stable of releases in the world.
No.
And I think, so all signs are pointing to this next Assassin's Creed game being a big like release for Ubisoft, and I think they really just want to get it right, and the PR that game has been getting so far has not been amazing.
Oh, it is not.
I'm hoping they try to advertise it a little bit, but right now I think the hope for them is they want it to do about as well as Valhalla, I'm guessing.
Probably.
So do you personally see a reality where this game is able to ship 20 million copies?
As of this moment, no.
No? Do you think they're at least going to do like half that, or?
If it's good, like maybe not an initial
Okay.
push or whatever, but like if people see it's actually good or enjoyable or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is with all the publicity and reporting and like everything like that, I think the main thing was like to try and get the Japanese market or whatever to go into this
Really?
game a little bit more. I think they were
Okay.
like that. I think that's what they were trying for at least, and it just didn't work out. Or whatever. I don't know. Or at least they didn't start out on the right foot.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I think they were just primarily going for that Ghost of Tsushima audience.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people are super interested in that.
I mean, Ghost of Tsushima did okay, didn't it?
Yeah.
How many units did that game push?
I don't know. I also feel like just like Ubisoft in general has not had stellar stellar games recently, and that's
No.
that's
Again,
being felt.
Yeah, and I think that's why I mentioned earlier. I think this is such a big, release for them. They kind of need to get some of that, positive attention back because they have not been doing too hot lately.
Maybe it'll do good. I don't know. Just kind of out of the loop on that one.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen like usually like YouTube ads will play like something when it comes to like upcoming games or whatever, especially
And
like that, and I just haven't seen anything about it.
I mean, I'm in the same boat, which is why I'm surprised. I'm hoping they use this extra month to try and push the game a bit more, because all I've heard of it is from basically third-party sources that have been reporting on like what the game's going to be like, what kind of things you're going to be able to do in it. Like almost none of that has been coming from Ubisoft, and it needs to. If this game is as important as I'm sure they think it is, they really need to make that marketing push. Otherwise, I do see a reality where Ubisoft gets sold to Embracer, Tencent, or Microsoft this next year.
Yeah. Yeah, that would happen. That'd be pretty big.
It'd be sad. I don't know. We've discussed this many times. I just don't like consolidation in the games industry. I'm not going to support, if the game sucks, I don't want to support it. That would also not feel good. Just putting my backing behind, terrible products for the sake of keeping a company alive, but
Yeah, sometimes you just need to let nature run its course, though.
yeah. Oh well.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what goes on with AAC Shadows or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling like there'll probably be a good amount of people. I think there's still a lot of Assassin's Creed fans that are still around that hold out, that have really enjoyed the last couple of games or whatever, and are holding out hope that this one will be good. I just don't think. I think partially the reason why they push off the month, I think is one. You're right. I think they want to make it as polished as they can, but I also feel like they just don't want Assassin's Creed Unity again, where the game was completely broken on launch.
That's the big one. Here's the weird thing, though. With Assassin's Creed, I feel like that and Far Cry, they've always been like Ubisoft's big money makers. Even like there have obviously been some stinkers in both camps, obviously.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed has always been pretty consistently good, I think, though. Aside from,
Once they stopped going from yearly releases, basically, I thought that them taking a break, coming out with Origins, I thought was a step in the right direction. Odyssey was just better all around. Valhalla is kind of like a, did we need to get this big type deal? I feel like that was where its number, like you talked about it, just like the map was just massive, and I think it turned off a lot of people.
It was way too bloated for what it was.
Yeah.
Despite that, it did really well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people were super excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just
I think that game just also dropped at the perfect time, though, because I don't remember what it was. Maybe there was like a new Thor movie or something, but a lot of people were...
Well, it was God of War. It was after the first God of War that everyone wanted that Norse mythology like feel to it.
That's exactly it, and I think it dropped with like the release of the like PS5 and the Xbox Series. Mm-hmm. So it's you got a brand new console, you have a new game that promises to push the boundaries of those new console, alongside the release of a game in a genre that everyone was looking forward to. So it had just everything going for it.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, Norse mythology, top of the mind or whatever. Like this is what, and we're all here for a type thing. And he's just like, let's go with it. And then it's like kind of similar to like, oh, AC Shadow is kind of prioritizing like, oh, everyone's like wants that feudal Japan type feel to it or whatever.
Right. So it's like Ghost of Tsushima came out and it was really popular. Mm-hmm. And, obviously then, Shogun dropped and it was like, oh, well, that's super popular. So Ubisoft was probably just thinking like, easy. So an AC game in feudal Japan, everyone will love it. No problems whatsoever. They just have not done the best.
It's just like the marketing. The
marketing was really bad.
Yeah, the whole marketing scheme behind it. Just a lot of stuff around it that was not done the best. And it's like it's one of those games where it's trying to be cultural, like, stay true to the culture, kind of what Assassin's Creed has been known for, of just like staying pretty true to the period, twisting it here or there to fit stories or whatever, that type of deal. But like this one just kind of feels like we're just doing a whole new thing, kind of just set in feudal Japan, basically. And I think that's where a lot of people are going, not particularly what we wanted.
That's the weird thing too, right? I feel like with the last couple of Assassin's Creed, it's like with Brotherhood and like Unity and all these other like older Assassin's Creed games, they were set in a certain period of time within like all these different periods, right? Like during a big event of some sort. Obviously, the big one is like Assassin's Creed 3, where it was set during the American Revolution. It feels like a few of these last games have just been kind of taking the setting and nothing else. It's
I agree.
Yeah, it's ancient Norse times. When in ancient Norse times, it's like this one takes place in Egypt. When in Egyptian history is this game taking place?
Well, and the thing is, they also want to. They don't want it to go so far forward that like all guns are relevant now, and it's like, how do we? Assassins don't use guns and stuff like that, and we don't want this to become a gun game.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost what they did. Didn't they have guns in that one Assassin's Creed game? Like, they had flintlock pistols?
I mean, yeah, they had that in Assassin's Creed 3, and I believe it was also in Syndicate. You had
Syndicate is the one I was thinking of. Yeah, I think they had a fucking grappling hook in that game, too.
Yep, they did. Mm-hmm. So
I heard that game was awesome, though.
Yeah, I heard that game was actually really good. But it's just like, I feel like they don't want to go any further than that, because then you start to get to more modern technology and you go, it makes the game a little bit harder and kind of takes away from the assassinness of everything, basically, or just makes it would be just a different vibe. So there's only so many places in time that you can kind of go to that have major relevance, although I would argue there's probably a lot. There
are so many, and it's like, with So I do appreciate that one of their upcoming Assassin's Creed games. It's weird that we already know about it.
I mean, yeah, they announced like the next like 4 titles, didn't they? Or like the next 4 projects. I don't know if there's that many, but
I know there's of at least 2. So Assassin's Creed Hex is the one that I was going to bring up, which is set during the Salem witch trials, which is weird.
Do you think they'll have actual magic in there?
I mean, Assassin's Creed games have had actual magic in them.
I know, but do you think? But do you think like
Unity.
the assassin, like, do you think like we'll play as like a female assassin who can actually use witchcraft?
Oh, that would be so rad.
That'd be so fucking cool. I just like she's like trying to hide you know, she's a witch and stuff like that, and it just I don't know. I think it'd be so fucking rad to have to be an assassin with actual like, you know, witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, they've definitely had like magic and, you know, fringed on the supernatural.
So the only mainline game we know of right now is Assassin's Creed Hex. There's Assassin's Creed Jade, which is apparently going to be a mobile game.
Okay.
Coming out this year, which is alright. I don't... Aside from... Okay, I guess that one's also set in feudal Japan. Why not? Then Invictus, which apparently is a standalone multiplayer project. You know what I would fucking love? Like, what Assassin's Creed game I would be all about?
Yeah.
So we've had one during, you know, Greek times. What point in Greek history it takes place in, nobody knows, but have one that takes place in ancient Rome during the Second Punic War. I think that'd be rad as hell. Have the main villain be Hannibal.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There is just so many interesting points in history that you could just put Assassin's Creed into. Oh man.
Yeah. That's why it's just like that's why I just don't really understand like why they have such trouble. I think with like Assassin's Creed games. Mm-hmm. It's like there are really cool moments in history or whatever. Thing is, I think they always wanted to try and be relevant to the Western culture.
That's the thing,
that's the number one thing. But I go, it's not how you should probably do
that. I don't know. I kind of want to apologize because I know I've been harping on a lot about this subject, but it's just weird to see a studio as big as Ubisoft struggling as much as they have been. It's kind of like this must be what it felt like to Sega fans during their Dreamcast era.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I still really like you guys, and Sonic Adventures was fucking fantastic, but this is going nowhere fast.
Yeah. Thing is, I just don't think that, like, you know, the thing is like when you look at like the, you know, older Assassin's Creeds or whatever, it's like they had like, you know, obviously they had like they were set in these points, they all had their stories, but there was the idea that like Desmond Miles was looking into the past to try and find hints toward what was the Apple of Eden they were looking for.
Yeah, they really abandoned the whole like.
They abandoned that whole storyline, and I thought it was really cool to have like, and the idea that eventually will lead up to the point where they know where the Apple of Eden is, type thing, and we'll do like a modern Assassin's Creed feel game, and go find it basically, and they just completely abandoned that.
Dude, a modern Assassin's Creed game. I think it'd be cool. Imagine how hard it would be to make something. But
imagine
like that,
you just have like some like crazy tech or whatever where you could like turn invisible and stuff like that, and I think that'd be so cool, so rad.
Yeah, the thing though is again, it would be rad. I'm saying it would be really difficult to put together.
Oh, absolutely.
They would need to put it in like a city, and you can't just have like traversal like Spider-Man.
No.
So it's like all these buildings you're gonna have to go into it in some way, or you know at least be able to scale. and I don't even want to. I fucking feel for the people that have to make that game. It is going to be great, but holy shit, that is going to be a task.
I thought the way that they were doing it in those games, I thought was great. Where it was just like little tidbits where the Templars would be onto you or something like that, and you'd have to like sneak your way around them. And it's like, you got guns these days. You don't just got those little wrist blades or whatever and stuff like that. I remember that was a line that when you were playing as Desmond one time, I think it was in Assassin's Creed 3 or whatever, like they were like, you were like scaling a building and like going in to steal something from the Templars or whatever, and he was like, Desmond, there's such a thing as guns these days. Just saying. It'd be interesting though. It's like, Assassin's Creed, like modern day Assassin's Creed, where they don't use guns, basically. I think that'd be interesting. Where it's like you really do have to take it as a very much a stealth game.
That'd be weird. Again, I think it'd be really cool. Ubisoft needs to start pivoting in the right direction though if they want to have any chance of ever making that game though.
Yeah, I think that's the number one thing. It's like they have to like understand where they're going with this or whatever. It's like, they have their next so many games like kind of thought out or whatever, or at least they generally know what they're doing with it. But it's like, is there an overarching plot again, or are we just like, these are just moments in time where the Templars are fucking up shit and the assassins are coming to save the day type thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My biggest fear though is just like, again, like Tencent or Embracer just gobbling Ubisoft up, and then seeing these franchises like Assassin's Creed and like Far Cry, and just being like, oh, well, these were cool. Time to shelve them forever.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't
Awesome.
need that.
Cool. Great. That's the one thing that I love as a guy that likes to play video games is have less options.
Yeah, just shelve these really cool games that have been very influential, basically from gaming inception, basically, and just like saying, nobody cares about these anymore. I'm like, no, that's not true at all.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of the Assassin's Creed games are what made like modern stealth games.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. We can stop talking about it. I just wanted to.
No, I think it's
vent,
fair.
I guess.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe one day Sony will also learn that it's like, all these games that made all of our games that we currently have or whatever. Let's go back and make those.
Man, we can make a lot of money with platformers.
We could make a Jack and Daxter game. We could make like
Sly Cooper
game. Could make like another, I don't fucking know, but like anything that Sony has that's not their modern titles.
God damn it, Microsoft!
Go back to any game during the PS2 era.
How long have people been waiting for a new fucking Banjo-Kazooie, dude?
Oh my god. So long.
It's been so fucking long.
Banjo-Kazooie,
How
nuts
do
and
we not have
bolts.
that yet?
Nuts and bolts.
I can't believe they bought Rare, made that, just did nothing with them for years, made Sea of Thieves, which is a game that everybody loved, and didn't do shit!
I mean, how long did it take them to make another Psychonauts as well, too?
I mean, that was Double Fine. That wasn't Rare.
I know, but just like in general, just like studios that Microsoft had, right, for a while, and then you just never did anything with.
I didn't think they owned Double Fine for that long. I think
maybe it just feels longer than I'm thinking.
Yeah, because I don't think they bought Double Fine until like the early series era, really. Like, I think it's only been a few years that they owned them. I think it originally... Yeah, no, I don't know how to phrase what I'm going to say. I don't think they had Double Fine for that long before they released
Yeah, it was like 5 years ago,
2.
I guess. So, and then what?
Granted, when did Psychonauts 2 come out?
That was like, what, a year or two ago?
No, I feel like it's been longer than that.
Is it?
2021.
Okay.
So it's been 4 years.
Yeah, so like they were a Microsoft thing for a year, and then they came out with it.
Yeah.
That
So
makes
what the
sense.
fuck have they done since then?
Yeah.
They released Psychonauts 2. And followed by nothing so far.
Yeah, whole lot of nothing right now.
Dude, when the fuck are we going to get Everwild? Is that still a game that exists somewhere at Microsoft? Are they still working on that?
Dude, I'm still waiting for freaking Scalebound.
Oh, that one was officially canceled, actually.
I know it was. I'm just like, I just go, oh, it looks so good though.
It looked super
It
cool.
looks so good. I can't believe they canceled that one. I was so excited for that. I could not remember what this game was, the Everwild or whatever. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what this game was.
They announced it during their like big Xbox Series, reveal stream, where it was going to be like, oh yeah, this is going to be one of the big launch titles.
For the one?
Still don't know where it is. For the series.
Oh, so yeah, series, yeah.
So we're still waiting on that. Apparently, wait, is State of Decay 3 this year? I think so.
I think so. Sounds right.
I'll be honest, I don't know shit about State of Decay, but
No, me neither.
I just remember that's another game that they announced with the Xbox Series X that still hasn't come out yet. Please tell me this has a release date of some sort. Mother of God, you've got to be kidding me. Comes out next year.
So they say.
Yeah. I mean, they did show gameplay of it, which is
That's a
more
good
than
sign, I
Witcher
guess.
4 has shown, and that game's coming out this year, apparently.
Dude, I still can't believe that Witcher 4 is coming out this year. There's no fucking way.
I'm telling you, that game's going to get delayed. It 1 billion % is.
There's no fucking way that comes out this year.
Yeah. For State of Decay 3, I sort of get it because Xbox is launching like 5-6 games this year, which is a lot for them.
Recently, yeah.
Yeah. And that's not even like counting the new Call of Duty that's obviously going to come out. Do you think they release another Call of Duty this year? No, wait, they absolutely are, because they said they want to launch a new console this year, and it's going to launch with a new Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah. They'll continue to do what Activision has always done, basically, which is yearly releases.
This is going to be a weird... They said they weren't going to do that, though.
They probably
Didn't they
will
take
still.
a break for like a year or two to make like Modern Warfare or whatever, and they were like, okay, we're gonna... No, what they were going to do was that they were going to rotate studios. It's like 1 year it's going to be Treyarch, 1 year it's going to be Infinity Ward, and then 1 year it's going to be Sledgehammer. Then that didn't work, and they just kind of all combined to make one super studio, basically, that makes Call of Duty video games. Man, I still hate Activision. Despite Bobby Kotick not being there, I hate Activision.
Yeah.
This is going to be a weird year for gaming, dude. We have 2 video game consoles that are effectively going to be shadow dropped in the middle of the year.
Yeah, apparently we're gonna do that. We're gonna have that. Then I don't know. Then apparently GTA 6 will probably come out sometime this year and just probably fuck up everything.
Everything.
It's not. It's like literally like it could fuck up everything.
If Shadows doesn't do well, Ubisoft's probably getting shut down
Maybe
or sold off to someone.
like they
Yeah,
might start
no,
taking.
dude.
They might start taking offers, but like
Yeah, I really do think this is going to be a make or break game for them. If this game flops, it's going to be a hard times over at Ubisoft.
yeah, it'll be rough.
Yeah. A lot of crazy shit.
Pretty much.
Do you think Microsoft tries to raise the price of Game Pass again this year? Or do you think they're going to stick to $22 a month?
Nah, they'll probably do what Netflix does, and they'll just say, well, we're up at the price, but don't worry, it'll be better. Will it, though?
That's why I guarantee you, if Ubisoft decides that they want to sell, Microsoft is going to jump on that, like...
Well, isn't, like, Ubisoft Plus, like, isn't that already on the Game Pass, or am I
No,
thinking
that's
something
separate.
Else?
You're thinking of EA Play. That is on Game
That's
Pass.
what I'm thinking of. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, for Ubisoft, not only would that help Microsoft out, because part of the deal of them getting Activision is they had to give the streaming rights to Call of Duty to Ubisoft. So now they just get that back. And now they have free reign to just be like, well, we got a bunch of new studios, bunch more games coming to Game Pass. That means we gotta raise the price again, guys. Sorry. Gotta
keep them servers going, bro.
Yep.
Oh, man. Do you think if AC Shadows doesn't do good and they go, well, we're not quite ready to sell yet? Like, what do you think? What do you think? Like, Ubisoft's next game is? Like, you think they may release like another Rainbow Six or some shit?
I'm not sure about Rainbow Six. The only other game I know for a fact that they're working on is, again, aside from the Assassin's Creed, after this Assassin's Creed, is they're making the next Far Cry game.
Yeah.
So I think that one will do well. You know, everyone likes Far Cry.
Everyone seems to like Far Cry.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly see them releasing another Rainbow Six game. You know, they'll see that Siege has kind of lost some steam. Maybe they'll release Siege 2.
Well, they think they would. Well, how long has Rainbow Six Siege been out?
Dude, it's been years.
It's got to be at least 10 years,
time.
Right?
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Rainbow Six Siege came out in 2015. So it has been exactly a decade this year.
It's like a decade, and then after a decade, you know what? Big updates, big stuff or whatever, or we just release a whole new game.
Just release a new game.
I mean, didn't they try like this like weird like extraction like thing or whatever?
Oh yeah, Rainbow Six Extraction.
Yeah.
Where a game where you fight like zombie alien goo shit.
Yeah, because they're like PvE where you like rescue people and stuff. Like that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Eh.
No, they half-assed the shit out of that. They saw like one of the events that they did in Siege was it was received really, really well. So
let's make a whole game mode off it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a whole new game mode. It was a brand new game that they released for $40.
It was a game. Always forget that. Oh boy.
But no, I could easily see them making releasing another Rainbow Six game or another Division game or something like that. I think they still see that there's plenty of, people willing to pay into the live service market, so they're gonna try something.
But are people really clamoring at the bits for the Division anymore? Like the first one, the first one had a good concept. I feel like the second one just didn't do anything.
No, wait, dude, what are you talking about? More
Really?
people played the second game. Division 2, that did way better than the Division 1.
It shows what I know.
At least I think so. Let's.
I don't know. Like, I just remember I had like a friend back in college or whatever who showed me like the original trailer. Yeah. Like he was so obsessed over two games. It was the original trailer for Rainbow Sea, the Tom Clancy's Division. And then the original Cyberpunk 2077 one. And I was just like, I mean, yeah, they both look cool or whatever. But we actually like played it, and it was just like, this wasn't quite exactly what we were expecting.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, was it probably worth warranting in Division 2? Probably. I just
they both sold around. They both sold around the exact same, about 10 million copies each.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. It's like, I don't know how interested people are in live service games anymore. Okay,
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like, I think that whole market's dead. Then something, like Marvel Rivals comes out, and that just challenges my whole perspective on everything, basically. I did not think that game was going to be as... I knew it was going to be pretty popular. I did not expect it to be this big. Like, holy shit. But, clearly Sony still thinks there's something in live service. They are pulling all of their resources into it.
Pretty much because they want to find that one game that sticks, that's Marvel Rival, that they can just make tons of money off of and never make a good game ever again.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the Horizon MMO is going to do that for them.
Well, that's what The Last of Us one was supposed to do, but I guess we just didn't know what we were doing.
Nobody wanted to... That was such a shitty idea from the outset. Nobody wanted a multiplayer Last of Us game. Okay, nobody. I don't get why.
I don't believe that really anyone wanted that game.
No. And so they have that and Marathon.
Yeah. Dude, I don't even... That's what I don't really understand. It's like, okay, maybe Bungie was okay with, like, they didn't really want to do much more with Destiny 2 at some point. But it's like, you bought Bungie, then basically by the time Bungie comes in, there's like one big expansion release with the final shape. Mm-hmm. And then basically the game is now just kind of sitting in limbo. And then they're making Marathon.
Basically. Here's the thing, too, though. They brought him in to consult with like other multiplayer games to make sure they would be a success, right?
Yeah.
So what the fuck happened to Concord? If they're supposed to,
see, this is where we learned this is what Sony was going to make all of their multiplayer, all their live service games on. And then we're just like, yeah, this is the bullshit we do without you guys. We need you.
Didn't that game come out after? That game absolutely came out after.
I know, but you can't. But probably a majority of the development is without them, right?
I know, but at no point did they bring in Bungie and was like, hey, can you come in, make sure this is not a shit idea?
Yeah.
That there isn't anything... Because, they kept pushing off and eventually canceled the Last of Us, multiplayer game. There must have been a bunch of development behind that already.
Oh, yeah.
At no point did anybody over at Bungie look at Concord and just decide, wow... This is not good. You should not charge people $40 for this.
Or maybe they did say that, and and then Tony went, well, we put too much money into this, so let's try and get something back, and maybe it'll be good enough to stick.
Oh, man, if
that was the concept, you deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
I highly...
okay.
Boy, that better not have been the case.
No. So... You release the final shape, you're done with Destiny 2. I think that's fine. They're not going to make Destiny 3, though. The thing is, people that played Destiny, they're not going to be interested in Marathon.
No,
it's a fucking extraction shooter. They're not interested in that. They want another Destiny. They want more Destiny. Or a game like Destiny.
Or just it's just a continuation. It's like, even if they could have kept updating it for updating Destiny 2 and just continuing the story for years to come, I feel like, and people were all excited about it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. It feels weird to have... you bought the, Kings of Live Service, and you've basically at the time, and it's like you've just
And now you
completely squandered your opportunity with them.
Yeah, now you're just struggling with the thing that you brought these guys in to do.
Mm-hmm.
While at the same time scouring a good chunk of their workforce at Bungie.
They're bleeding talent over there. They're developing a multiplayer game that not a whole lot of people are interested in. You got their biggest IP ever with, Destiny, and you're not doing shit with it despite being, all in on live service.
And considering how volatile live service games are these days, it's like you're gonna put all your eggs in that basket and then go, it's make or break type, and they go, this seems like a good idea.
I don't like talking about this because I feel like every week we devolve into this conversation, but it's still just so weird to me how that they think that this is their path to success. Especially, and I feel like we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks, about how live service games just aren't as appealing to the general masses as they used to be. A lot more people are just interested in, single player story driven games.
Yeah.
It feels like that's what a lot of the hype is around these days, aside from Marvel Rivals, is single player shit.
Yeah, it's a lot of single player stuff that's feels like what's the correct word to say here? I don't know, just interesting, I guess. People when they see something about it, they're just oh, this looks awesome type deal. And I don't know, just feels like a lot of game direction, a lot of games when you look at stuff or whatever, and it's how I kind of generally judge games, where it's when you see a trailer with some gameplay in it, it's you can kind of tell how much the team was really invested in making this good or whatever. You can feel the passion and stuff like that. Not saying that people, if they made a bad game, weren't passionate about the game. It's just that something probably happened along the ways that really fucked up everything, because that's usually how it goes. Mm-hmm. So it's just but when management kind of steps aside and lets the developers do their thing, it's you end up with a really good game with a really good story. And when they don't try to control every little aspect of every little thing, trying to bleed every penny you can out of the players, turns out you make great games. And when you make great games, you get a great reputation for making games, and people will be more likely to pay a little extra, do pre-orders and stuff like that, get the big expensive collector's bundles when you do that or whatever. I think God of War is a perfect example of that.
100% easily.
So I don't know. It's just when I look at most of these live service games, it's just they just feel like they're just a money grab that is just trying to bleed you dry, and I'm just I do not care.
Just having all these expensive skins and other shit just right from the outset.
Yeah. Oh man. Yep. So it turns out if you just make a good game with a lot going for it, yeah, a lot going for it, with some interesting gameplay elements and everything like that, then people will be interested in doing that kind of stuff, and then from there you just build up a reputation and you become one of the most well-known and well-beloved studios of all time. And then you get bought up by EA or whoever, and then you go right down the tube. It's unfortunate.
Sad but accurate, yeah.
I wish it wasn't so accurate, but it is.
Here's the thing. I feel like it's not that... Maybe this is an outsider looking in perspective. I feel like it's not that hard either. Make a game that people like first, and then worry about the monetization. Don't make that a core part of your game's whole identity is how you're going to monetize it.
It's just when you focus too much on the monetization, I feel like people will just look at it as oh, you're just kind of greedy and money grubbing or whatever.
Yeah. If you have a good core game that people like and want to spend money on, then they're going to whenever you release those cosmetics.
Yeah. If your whole presentation is about the gameplay, making it feel good, making it fun and interesting as best you can, and then you go, oh, look over here, we have all these skins too. All right, great.
That's the thing, like with Marvel, right? Bring up Marvel Rivals again. With Marvel Rivals, it's like if that game did not do well, and it like say they released it in the same way Concord did, they released it for $40. It doesn't even have half the player base that it does now. Gameplay is less good. They have less characters. Putting out this hypothetical, it wouldn't matter how many cool skins that they put in the game. It's like, well, this is going nowhere, and I'm not having fun. So obviously, I'm not going to give you guys any more money. What the hell?
Well, and it's also just like the idea that it's just like when people look at like Marvel Rivals, how many people like you said, like half the player base wouldn't even be there if it was like money to actually play.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some games are, some games basically like those games have ever since like I don't know. Like, I guess Overwatch wasn't, like, the original Overwatch wasn't free, but, like...
No, but
it's just like, it felt like ever since Overwatch, that was kind of, like, the direction that hero shooters or, like, just those multiplayer games had kind of taken.
Mm-hmm.
And
just
trying to move away from that free-to-play model is most of the time not going to end well for you.
No. Overwatch was able to do it once. I don't think any game is ever going to be able to do it again.
No. Not for those types of games.
It's just like you can't get away with that anymore.
It's like battle royales and like just like those types of games. It's like you just can't. Like if you're, I don't know. There are some games I know that have gone into early access and like they're like, oh, you can buy this or whatever, and you get like. I look at like when they were originally playtesting Battle Right or whatever, it was like we intend at some point when we're out of early access for this game to go free to play or whatever. But if you want access to the game now with all of the characters and all future characters we will put out as well, then here's $20. It's a one-time purchase, and you will get every and all future characters for like with it. You don't have to spend in-game currency or anything like that to get the new characters. And I was like, oh, or whatever. And I think they gave I think it was like a 2-hour just like trial of the game or whatever, and just to see if you liked it or not. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I tried it and I loved it, and I instantly put $20 down on it because I was like, and I played a lot in college. It was fun.
Nice. Okay.
I wish that game had succeeded though. So they made Battle Royale, which I was less interested in. It's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like, yeah, it would need to be something like that, and I'm just like, and even then, I still think that's a hard sell nowadays. Back in what was that? That was probably shortly after Overwatch, like 2016, I want to say.
Yeah, so it didn't seem that egregious back then.
No.
The problem is the market has just changed.
It's just changed so drastically.
If you charge for just straight multiplayer games, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, basically.
Yeah.
That's why when Concord came out and it was revealed it had a $40 price tag, I was just immediately like...
I was blown away. I was like, $40?
What are you doing?
Bruh. I was like, well, it's not the full $60 or $70 for a AAA game. I don't care. That's just way too much.
And they were saying, like, oh, we're going to have weekly cutscenes. Why?
Nobody cares.
Like, who would care? You don't have a world to build on top of. Nobody is going to care about, weekly cutscenes. It's like if you had, like, a campaign that you were updating, like, every month or so, then maybe you would have something there. But just having, like, 5-minute clips coming out every week, for what reason? And it's like, oh, we're going to add all these characters and they're all going to be free. And it's like, well, then how are you going to upkeep a live service that way? I know we've bitched so much about Concord already, but it is still so shocking to me, like how effectively they shot themselves in the foot with that game.
Oh yeah, every decision made was just the wrong decision, and it's like, and you think at some point someone would just say, "What the fuck are we doing?" But no one ever did, which is the insane part. Like That's what I'll never get over. It's that for as long as gaming, like Concord will probably be known as one of the greatest flops in all of gaming history, basically, or should. It's just like, and it's just like there's just so many points where they could have turned back, so many points where they said this is a bad idea, so many points where they were just like, we should just cut our losses, and I think that it was just like. It's just like, nah, I think we're just going to keep digging. We're just going to keep digging this hole so that way it just, when it happens, it's going to hurt that much more and a lot more people are going to lose jobs for it. And I'm just like, no, don't do that. Just put down the shovel. Walk away. Please. I'm begging you.
They've been working on that fucking game since the first Overwatch came out. And the final product was trying to compete with that original Overwatch. And they just had no perception that the entire video game industry between the release of their game and, that first Overwatch game happened, basically. It's like they time traveled and released that game in the complete wrong market.
Oh, absolutely. As well as just showing off, how in touch or, in tune that, Concord and Sony are with, just gaming trends in general these days, and I'm just like, jeez, you thought that was a good idea? No. It's like, do you not know how to feel out a landscape? Do you not look at it and see oh, here's the games that come out today, what are they doing right, what are they doing wrong, type thing, what could we improve on, or what can we learn from them? And it's just nothing, none of that.
What's so weird too, with Sony, it feels so bizarre. You would have figured that they would have picked up on at least some of this stuff, because they've been top dogs in the games industry for how long? At no point, they're the ones that published the game. At no point did they think maybe we need to do something else with this. Even if they had just released the game for free and had, skins with it, I feel like they would have...
That's why I thought I was going to get the Anthem treatment.
I thought so, too.
And then it just never even had the opportunity.
Bro. Imagine, too, so Sony owns Spider-Man. They still own the Spider-Man franchise. At any point, imagine they would have just gone to Disney and been like, hey, can we please, use Marvel properties and make a video game out of it? Imagine if Sony was the one to release Marvel Rivals, how different that shit would have gone.
Yeah. And it's just
it's crazy how in the last couple of years, how many W's Sony has just been handed, basically, and they've just been squandering all of them.
Yeah, they're just nah, we're good. It's what do you mean you're good?
We'll get a fucking, good live service eventually. We just gotta keep throwing random
keep throwing
shit
money
at
them. It's fine. We'll definitely cause probably a lot of people to lose their jobs, but it'll be okay. It'll be fine. No, it won't be.
I mean, they got Helldivers too.
Yeah.
So that's step one.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's oh, they got something or whatever. They got Helldivers 2 or whatever, and it's let's just milk that into the ground, kind of like we did Last of Us, and rather than just understand why this is good type thing and build upon it, let's just milk it into the ground.
I mean, that game has lost half of its player base since release,
and that's all of Sony's fault too, with the whole PSN bullshit. It's you release you need a PSN account to play this or whatever, and it's just and then a lot of people just lost access to the game for a while and just never came back.
I mean, if they just... I was going to say if they had a launcher, then maybe that would make sense, but at the exact same time, no. It's even Ubisoft. We talked about Ubisoft so much this
Ubisoft, Microsoft, all these other ones just don't care to necessarily yeah, you can connect and play with you have crossplay or whatever, and I guess that would be the only reason to connect something to that, but at least I think they went through the mindset of, if we were going to require this, we got to make sure that, everyone has access to this. Instead, Sony just goes, nah.
It's so weird, too, because it's like, so Microsoft has a launcher. They have the Xbox app, which is, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, that's where you play your Game Pass games. But if you want to play a Microsoft game, you can just go onto Steam, buy it, and it'll launch from there. It won't open up any other apps or anything. You don't need to have an Xbox Live account to play Halo Infinite online, And again, Ubisoft, even they understood this is a stupid idea. Mm-hmm. That's why they were like, oh, so we're just going to take all the games that were on our launcher, just put them all onto Steam, and you can just launch them from there. You don't need a Ubisoft Plus account or whatever to play any of our games. I think same thing happened with... it was EA, because they had the... what was their launcher called? It was... Origin. They had Origin for the longest time. Origin sucked.
It sucked ass. I don't know, man.
And they just, they brought all their games over, and you can just launch them from there. I don't get it. I just simply do not understand.
Yeah. Just crazy moves that I'm just like, I don't know who made these decisions or who thought it was going to be a good idea to do so. But bro, I just don't know. Didn't
they launch on PC too without the PSN requirements?
Yeah.
And then just say...
Yeah, and then they just one day said, yeah, we need the PSN thing or whatever. And I go, but why?
God damn, dude. That's so fucking annoying.
Oh, yeah, it's just like, it is baffling. Just like, okay, if you're going to require this or whatever, maybe just do it straight when the game, is out.
That may save you some controversy. It would legitimize your, point of like, oh, well, the game needs this in order for us to do blank or blank. It's kind of not a thing now. It's like, you had it before. Why can't you just, have it now? Apparently, when they launch The Last of Us on PC, that's going to require a PSN account now.
Yeah, saw that.
For what reason? That game's a single-player game.
I do not know.
No idea.
Do not know. Don't understand why. Just is.
Yeah.
What a time to live in. It's just like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me that Sony can just go like, oh yeah, we'll do all these things and don't even take into consideration like what it will do for the player base or mindset or anything like that. Nah.
So going back to one of our earlier topics, since Red Dead 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake can run smoothly on the Nintendo Switch 2, wouldn't that make it more powerful than the Steam Deck?
Yeah.
By, like, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if it can run both those games, like, smooth, then I would say, yeah, probably.
How expensive is the fucking Switch 2 going to be, then? Wouldn't they have to price it at, like, $400 or $500 if they're going to do that, if not more?
Yeah, it might.
Like, the base Steam Deck, I think, it's still $400.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that's kind of delegitimizing these rumors to me. It's like, oh, so the Switch 2 is basically going to be a better Steam Deck. Like, that is for what I assume is, I do not believe Nintendo is going to want to launch it at $400 either.
No, I can't imagine they would want to do that either.
So it's like, how the fuck is any of this supposed to work? I just don't.
Yeah, I simply
just don't get it.
Know.
Especially if they still want to do the whole cartridge thing with this Switch 2. Yeah. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, imagine putting, again, Final Fantasy VII Remake or, Red Dead 2 on those tiny-ass cartridges.
Well, then you almost wonder, is the Switch 2 going to be like fully digital only?
I mean, apparently it's like you said, it's going to be compatible with all like previous Switch games. Is it only going to be like the ones that you downloaded?
Or maybe just like, oh, they'll only do the cartridges for like Nintendo games, and then like any like third-party games you'll have to download like through the Nintendo Store or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, at least it would make sense why Smash has both Sephiroth and Cloud in it now. Now you can play the games that they're from on the Switch itself.
I mean, if anything, it would probably imply that the Switch 2 is going to have better online than the first Switch.
Well, I mean, that should just be a given at this point.
You would hope so.
Yeah. Looking at you, Nintendo, with your great online service that definitely works 100% of the time. Definitely doesn't lag or anything like that, and that's why you only pay $20 for it. I don't care.
It's gonna be weird. This is gonna be a weird year.
It's gonna be something. It's like I was thinking about it. It's like, is there like a lot of games that you like are excited for this year? Like as of this moment right now, is there like a ton of games you're looking forward to that are have confirmed release dates?
Mm-hmm. Admittedly, there's a lot of games that, granted, that most of these games are coming from Microsoft, and it's like I like Obsidian, so I'm obviously excited for both Avowed and Outer Worlds 2. I like the Fable series, so I'm excited for the next Fable game. I think South of Midnight looks like fun. Obviously, the next Gears of War game is coming out. Aside from that, I can't really think of anything though.
Yeah, I just think about it, and I'm like, man, there's not like a ton that I'm like super excited about right now.
What are some other games that have like confirmed release dates coming out this year?
I don't know.
I'll be the first to admit I'm not the biggest GTA guy, so it's like,
no, me neither.
GTA, cool, whatever. And maybe I'll try it eventually.
Yeah.
I'm
alright.
I can't really think of anything, though.
No, me neither.
Like if the Switch 2 comes out, I guess, new Mario game, that'd be pretty neat.
Yeah. It's like, I think the most exciting game that I'm looking forward to is like Slay the Spire 2, and like kind of just it for the time being.
Is that going to come out of early access this year? Is
Hades 2 will come out? I don't know if Hades 2 will come out this year. Probably receive some updates for sure. But if I remember correctly, the original Hades was like in early access or early development or for like
a long time, yeah.
I think it was like 3 years or something like that. They just like slowly rolled out updates until they were like, all right, here's 1.0.
New Yakuza.
Yeah.
That's coming out. I'm not going to play it because I'm not even close to that game in the series.
You don't want to go play Pirate Island or the Hawaii Pirate Man thing?
I want to. You know how many Yakuza games there are? I'm on Yakuza 2, goddammit. I've gotten through 2 of them.
To it. It's fine.
I'm such a bitch. I hate it. Aside from that, though, yeah, I can't really think of much.
Yeah.
You can't really think of anything, though, aside from those few games?
Not particularly. I was like, start out this year, it's like I'm not really like a ton I'm looking forward to. I'm sure there'll be some releases that I hear about through the year.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be about it, pretty much.
Metroid Prime 4 is launching this year. Are you a big Metroid Prime guy?
I have not played a single one of those.
Really?
Never. I think I played halfway through the other M, and I said people like these games.
No, people don't like that one.
That's what I found out late. That's what I found out years later.
Metroid Prime, the Metroid Prime games have been historically pretty damn good, actually.
I believe it.
Oh, here's one for you. You're excited for Expedition 33, right?
Yeah, I guess that one is. I always forget about that one, but yeah.
I'm just looking at 2025 games right now. Uh, hmm. You looking? Well, I would say Split Fiction, but do you have a partner you can play that with?
No, I mean, I maybe could convince my brother to play it with me, but that's about it.
Are you gonna try and do that?
Probably not.
Oh,
Game looks good though.
okay. Doom: The Dark Ages is coming out this year.
That's true.
Almost forgot about that. As well as the next Ghost of Tsushima game. Thank God it's not releasing in March. God, if it was, I would feel so terrible for Ubisoft. Imagine the timing, dude.
God, that would not be great.
Yeah. Ooh, new Mafia game is also coming out this year. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah. I guess there's a new Dynasty Warriors game coming out, and I think it's Friday it comes out.
Yeah.
I don't know how I
Dynasty
feel about that
Warriors
one.
Origins.
Yeah.
I heard it was really good, actually.
Yeah, that's good. I think my brother played the demo and, and he liked it. He's excited. He wants to play it. I don't know if I'll get around to playing
Nice.
it at all, but that's cool. I like Dynasty Warriors.
We were talking about Terminator last week. Apparently, there's a new Terminator game coming out this year.
What are the fucking odds, dude?
I don't know. Wait a minute, it's made by Nacon. Isn't that the exact same? No, okay, it's not. They made the RoboCop game. I thought that was the Marvel Rivals people for a second.
Oh no. It was like when I was talking to, I think it was I was talking to a friend or whatever, and I was talking to him about Amnesia and stuff like that, and I was just like, oh, I wonder if they're planning making a new Amnesia game or whatever, and literally I look it up, and Frictional Games is literally putting out Amnesia the Bunker a week later, and I'm just like, what? They're making a new Amnesia game. It's insane timing.
In terms of indie stuff too, you got Hyper Light Breaker that's coming out this year, which is the sequel to Hyper Light Drifter. Amazing game if you've never played it. You got Little Nightmares 2. So no, there are definitely games to look forward to this year.
Yeah, I just couldn't think of any off the top of my head.
Oh, new Elden Ring game is also coming out.
Yeah.
Because apparently, that studio is doing yearly releases now.
Yeah. Well, that way they made it a separate game this time to make sure that way it's not a DLC being nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah. It's just a completely different genre from Souls-likes.
Completely different.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a bad year for gaming.
No,
I just think it's going to be I just think it's going to be a weird one. I think there's a bunch of shit is going to happen, and I have absolutely no idea if it's going to be good or bad shit.
Yeah.
All I want to say is I hope and I pray that we do not get as many layoffs as we did last year or the year before.
Yeah.
Can we just have a nice year of growth within the games industry, please?
Yeah. And the thing that I keep hearing people talk about is that gaming this year will be the year that gaming becomes too expensive for the average person. And I go, that's gonna suck if that happens. If where the prices are gonna be jacked, we're probably people are saying it's this year we're gonna get everyone's gonna the base game's gonna go to $80 a year or $80 instead of $70 or whatever. And I go, I don't know about that, but we'll see. I hope not.
It all depends on I do think if that's why I'm hoping that GTA 6 isn't going to raise their price. I could see other studios, trying to follow suit. But I'm not really sure if I agree with that. it all depends on like if there's a bunch of ifs, right? If obviously if you're considering like people buying new video games every month, then yeah, for most people that's going to become too expensive. But I think in gaming there are still like there are digital sales all the time. You have services like Game Pass or whatever PlayStation's doing now. There are ways that you can afford to play video games still. It's certainly harder than it used to be. It is more expensive. Absolutely. I'm not sure if this is going to be the year that it becomes too expensive for the average person, because I agree. If that is the case, then it is absolutely going to suck.
Yeah.
I think it would lead more credence to us saying before, like, the future of gaming is, double A and indie and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted. What were you going to say there?
No, I think you basically said what I wanted to say, where it was like, oh, if gaming is going to be too expensive, it'd probably be on. Theoretically, you think it'd be just on the AAA level, but it might then push people to go more indie games, and that's, I think, a great push to go for.
I do want to add one last thing to that gaming getting expensive thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I do think if that does happen, like, obviously these big publishers, they're not like... a lot of industries now have been pivoting purely to trying to sell shit to rich people. Mm-hmm. To a certain extent, video games do that. They create these expensive skins that, only people that make upsetting amounts of money will be able to afford all of them, right? Mm-hmm. I do think if they become too expensive for the average person, then they're going to have to pivot with their prices a little bit, because, these big sales and, like, these amount of units being sold is what video games depend on. So I think if it becomes too expensive and people start dropping or playing or paying for games less and less because of it, I do think the market will adjust. So if it does become too expensive this year, then hopefully the next year it'll become less expensive again. That is the hope anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, now we can end it there. Sorry. Just wanted to add that last little tidbit.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening to this very long rambling. This is almost a 2-hour podcast from our recording.
Jesus Christ, really?
Yep. That's why I was just like, maybe at one point we should maybe think about stopping, but we're all right otherwise.
That's pretty good for a podcast we had nothing to talk about.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like, we had Switch 2 and... yeah. Well, it helps, when you take the first 15 minutes and ramble about, stupid-ass football. But yeah, be sure to follow the podcast where, on the links that I have underneath the show, on the YouTubes, Spotify, everything like that. If this is the first episode you listen to, I'm sorry. We're not always like this. Or are we?
For the most part. I mean, it's accurate to the name of the podcast anyway.
It's true. They're not always this long, but we do try and be as accurate to the name as we can.
Yeah.
This is why this name was so good. I'm so glad that we changed this name.
Yeah.
It was so it's so accurate. Anyway, thank y'all so much for listening, for watching, and we will see y'all next week. Bye.